Dunno. I was a fool to ask. Well, you tell her to take a spoonful of this every once in a while, and it should do the trick. But keep it away from the cats. They love the smell of it, silly varmints. Tell your mom she ain't got to pay me till the next time she comes in.
Thank you.
You seen Dixie today?
Dunno.
Fergus, either you seen her or you ain't. Which is it?
Ain't?
I gotta have me a talk with her. You see her before I do. You tell her to just call me and come in here. But I know that you will probably forget, and so I want you to.
Is Mr. Mellonford here?
Never heard of him.
Oh, good gravy. I've been looking for him everywhere.
What's his name again?
Mr. Mellonford. Barclay Mellonford.
Still never heard of him. And I knows everyone here in Wildcat Crossing, and everybody within 10 miles. Ain't that right, Fergus? Dunno. I was a fool to ask.
Bertie, you ever heard of crumpets?
No. Who's he?
It's something to eat, and gammon, and scones, and Earl Grey.
Earl who? Oh, you mean Earl Wappinger? The feller's got the cabin down the hall?
No, they's all foods.
Aldy Burr, have you gone plumb loco? Now who'd want to eat Earl what's-his-name, except in cannibals?
It's a kind of tea, he told me.
Who? Earl?
No, Mr. Mellonford.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about that limey who took the Barlow place?
That's him, Mr. Mellonford. He done hired me as his cook yesterday. And he seems nice and all, but today he goes asking for crumpets and gammon and scones, and this here Earl Grey tea. And I ain't ever heard of any of them.
Let me see. I might recollect them now that you done told me these foods. A crumpet's like toast, I reckon, but thinner. And scones is like biscuits, but more round.
You got him here?
No, what I want stuff like that for?
Oh, what am I gonna do, Bertie? If I can't buy him here, I gotta walk 6 miles to Spittersville.
You'll do no such thing. I tell you what, you just cook yourself up some flapjacks, but press them flat and overdo them a little, and you got your crumpets. For the scones, you just bake some biscuits, but while they're still hot, you roll them on the counter till they get round. Don't know what gammon is. As for that Earl, what's his name tea? Just brew up some regular tea, but make it strong. No man can taste the difference.
Oh, Bertie, thank you.
That'll be 22 cents.
Here. You got change for $1?
A dollar bill?
It's what he give me, Bertie. Oh, good, great.
I'll have to go in the back and open the safe. A whole dollar. Such carrying on.
Howdy there, Fergus.
How do?
What's this I hear about you and Dixie?
Don't know.
I heard you two is courting. That true?
Don't know.
Well, that's what I heard. What do you think of that?
Don't know.
There. And don't you go spending any of it in Spittersville. They'll rob you blind just as soon as spit on you.
Thank you.
So tell me, Aldy, what's this limey like, this melon something feller?
Oh, Mr. Mellonford. He's a regular gentleman. Good manners and all. And clean, too. Real fine clothes. Like an undertaker.
Sounds like a swell.
The only problem is his talking.
His talking? What? He's some kind of chatterbox like Fergus here?
Oh, he talks plenty. It's just hard to figure out what he's saying sometimes. He talks real English.
We all talk English, don't we, Fergus?
Don't know.
I mean like England across the ocean. It ain't the same.
You're not making any sense. Talking is talking.
I can't explain it. The words are just different or something. He just keeps talking and I just nods my head like I understand. I just reckon I won't let on how he's talking all wrong. After all, he pays me real good, and I like working for him. Better than when I worked for Calhoun Bick, the ornery brute.
I reckon you're right there. Nobody ever works for Calhoun Vic for long, not since he come here 2 years ago.
Afternoon, Bertie. Need something to drink.
Been mending fences for Snooky Patterson all morning. Howdy, Aldi.
Amos.
Sure thing, Amos. Some sarsaparilla?
Sounds good. Need something to get the dust out of my throat.
Sarsaparilla it is. I gotta get a fresh barrel from the back. Won't take long.
Amos, you worked for Calhoun Big once, didn't you?
About 10 days. If it had been 11, would have killed the varmint. Nastiest piece of rancher I ever seen.
I stuck it out for a whole month. I was so desperate for the money. Not that he paid none too good.
I know, stingy as well as mean.
Must be talking about Calhoun Vic.
That's the feller.
I'm working for a nice man now. A regular gentleman.
In Wildcat Crossing? Not likely.
It's that British fella who took the Barlow place.
Name a melon something?
Mr. Mellenford, that's the one.
You know him, Amos?
Not to recognize, but I've heard about him. Come to reckon, I'm supposed to meet him here today.
Don't say.
Slim told me this fella was looking for me, and Slim told him to be at Birdie's this afternoon.
I'll bet he's looking for a foreman. No Englishman is gonna be able to run that ranch by himself.
Don't know what he wants with me, but I have my suspicions.
Oh, you'll like working for Mr. Mellenford. A regular gentleman, like I said.
That's what makes me suspicious. What's a fella like that doing in Wildcat Crossing? In the Barlow place? Who'd buy that broke down heap? In my mind, it just don't figure.
Amos here never took to strangers. Ain't that right, Amos?
Now, I don't mind strangers, as long as they've been here for 10 years or so. Say, Fergus, how long you and your mom been in these parts?
Don't know.
There he is. Now you can see for yourself what he's like. Afternoon, Mr. Mellenford.
Mr. Burr, such a pleasant happenstance. I see you're purchasing the provisions I requested. Jolly good.
I've been doing my best, Mr. Mellenford. I got the making for the crumpets and the scones and that kind of tea you like. But I ain't had no luck with the game. Maybe they only grows in England.
The confusion is all my fault, I fear. I completely forgot to account for the subtle variations of the American dialect.
Huh?
I mistakenly used the word gammon, when the more accurate term in your country is in fact ham.
Ham? Ha ha! Why didn't you say so? Hear that, Bertie? It's just ham.
You'll have to go to Mike the Butcher for ham. I don't carry no meats. You know that, Aldi.
Again, I apologize, Mr. Burr. I was completely at fault in this circumstance. You will forgive me. As Shakespeare once wrote, the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves.
See what I mean?
I fear I've not had the pleasure.
Ain't had what pleasure?
How dry. I gather I do not make myself clear.
You can say that again.
Mr. Burr, won't you introduce me to these fine folk gathered here within?
Huh? Oh, sure. This here is Mr. Mellenford, come all the way from England to work the Barlow place. This here is Bertie Mullen.
The same Bertie Mullen of Bertie's Saloon and Supply Shack, as your establishment is so quaintly designated.
There's only one birdie, and that's me.
I'm enchanted.
Sure.
And this here is Fergus Tink.
Mr. Tink, I'm very pleased to make your acquaintance. I hope we shall be good friends.
I don't know.
And this here is Amos Nails.
Mr. Dabbs, the very man I hoped to chance upon in coming to this establishment. Fortune has been kind, and we are happily met.
I heard you was looking for me.
Truer words were never spoken, Mr. Dabbs. Shall we be seated and partake of the local favorite? Compliments of myself.
Oh?
I think he wants to buy you a drink, Amos, though I ain't completely sure.
Astute as ever, Miss Mullen. I shall indeed pay.
I don't take no drinks from strangers.
Don't be that way, Amos.
Perhaps a wise precaution. Perhaps a wise precaution, and one by which I should abide. Alas, I'm still a stranger here. A poor soul set sign by a sycamore tree. Shakespeare again.
Tell you what, mister. I pay for my own drinks, and you tell me what's on your mind.
Capital idea. Let us be seated over here. Miss Mullen, I believe I would like something cool and refreshing.
I got sarsaparilla, and I got the stronger stuff.
I recall the beverage sarsaparilla from my remote past. I shall have a glass of that.
One sarsaparilla coming right up. And don't call me Miss Mullen. Sounds like my sister in Topeka, who I don't much like. Call me Bertie.
You are charming beyond words. I eagerly await the fruit of your hospitality, Miss Birdie.
Oh, good gravy! I better get myself over to Mike's before he runs out again. I mean ham.
Mr. Dabbs, I'm embarking on a precarious endeavor.
Uh-huh.
Indeed I am. It is an agrarian adventure which offers unlimited excitement for me. But I must confess that I'm not without reservations. Substantial reservations, Mr. Dabbs. I enter onto this quest, if I may call it that, with trepidation. But a trepidation commingled with sufficient confidence and strength of character.
You don't say.
I do say.
I thought you was setting up farming at the Barlow place.
You put it very succinctly.
Sorry, didn't mean nothing by it.
At this point, my apprehensions would be sufficiently allayed if I knew I had the personnel in whom I could place my absolute trust and fraternity. This is the point at which you enter onto the scene.
I do what?
A colorful, if somewhat over-rusticated character by the name of Slim Patterson told me that Amos Dabbs was as experienced as he was astute.
Slim said what?
Or, words to that effect, my rural endeavor requires a man of supervisory skills as well as agricultural savvy. And I believe in you, I found the very specimen.
Listen, mister, I don't know what you're yakking about, but if
He
you...
wants to be foreman at his farm, Amos. At least I think that's what he said.
You're as perceptive as ever, Miss Birdie.
Don't you start fancy talking to me, feller. It's Amos you gotta sell.
Foreman?
Nothing less.
How many men you aiming on hiring?
That is entirely your prerogative, Mr. Dabbs.
My what?
I plan on cultivating 130 acres the first year. Then, if happenstance is favorable, escalate the production to the full 200 acres.
I don't know, mister.
Please call me Barkley, or Mellonford if you prefer.
I don't think us two would work well.
Naturally, you are reticent.
Listen, mister, I don't think us two would work well together.
I understand your apprehensions are totally apropos. Undoubtedly.
There you go, putting words in my mouth that I don't understand.
I realize that I'm still a stranger in this.
You hit it on the head, mister. A stranger in these here parts?
Afternoon, Calhoun. You need some provisions, or is this just a social call?
Looking for Dixie.
Well, as you can see yourself, she ain't here.
Been looking for her all day.
Ain't that unfortunate?
You, Tink, where's Dixie?
Don't know.
You acting smart with me?
Don't know.
No, I reckon you don't know much. But if you see Dixie, you tell her I've been looking for her. Birdie, I need some chewing tobacco.
Right over here. I got the 5-cent kind, and I got the deluxe 9-cent brand.
Nothing but alfalfa root and barley root.
If my chewing tobacco ain't to your liking, Calhoun, why don't you shop over to Spearsville?
Maybe I will. Tink, you remember what I said? I got something to discuss with Dixie.
Well, I must say that was a colorfully rustic individual. A friend of yours?
Ain't no friend to me.
Ain't to nobody. That's Calhoun Bick. He's got a ranch not too far from your place, Mr. Mellonford. I'd keep your fences mended so nothing of yours goes traipsing onto Calhoun's land. He'd as soon shoot off its head as sneeze.
I don't know what Calhoun is up to, but I don't like it. I better go warn Dixie.
Dixie can take care of herself. All the same, a warning wouldn't hurt none.
Fergus, you got any idea where Dixie is?
Don't know.
If she ain't hunting rabbits or shooting tin cans off the Willinger's fence, she might be up at the schoolhouse to see your sister.
Good idea, Birdie.
Mr. Dabbs, I shall tarry here so that we may continue our abruptly interrupted conversation about your employment.
Listen, Mr. Melon-Bottom?
Mellonford, though I'm quite amenable to being addressed as Barkley.
Melonford, listen. I don't think us two would work well together. I mean, well, I can't understand what you're saying half the time. And that ain't good on a farm or a ranch or anywhere as far as I can tell. To be downright honest with you, I don't think you belong in these here parts. I think you'd be better off going back where you come from, where they all talk like you. Now, excuse me, I gotta go warn Dixie.
My, but that was rather discouraging. I had been informed that Mr. Dabbs was the very man I was searching for. And that, as happenstance should have it, he's currently seeking gainful employment.
Amos is a good feller, all right, but he's got his suspicions and can be as stubborn as they come.
I would be willing to overlook any of his personal idiosyncrasies.
Any what? That's your problem, Mr. Mellonford. That England talking is gonna scare away every cowhand and farmer in this here territory.
Oh, dear.
Albie done told me you talk unusual like, but he didn't say the half of it.
I believe I would like something a little stronger, Miss Birdie.
Sure thing, Mr. Mellonford.
And another request.
Chewing tobacco? I got the 5-cent kind, and
No,
I got...
thank you. Would you call me Bartley?
Sure. I'll call you anything you like. Here, drink this down. You'll feel better.
And you, Mr. Tink? Will you call me Bartley?
No.
It would mean a great deal to me.
If you call me Fergus.
Certainly. To Miss Birdie and to Fergus, my only friends in the New World. The Old World, too.
You gotta gulp it down, Barkley, or else it rots your teeth.
Oh.
Good stuff, ain't it?
Nothing like it back in England.
What brings you to these parts, Barkley? And why did you buy the Barlow place?
I didn't buy it. I inherited it.
You related to old man Barlow?
A second cousin on my mother's side.
Now who'd have thunk old Barlow had kinfolk back in merry old England?
I never knew him, of course. Was he a nice man?
Not by a mile. Hated everyone and everyone hated him. So it worked out fine.
Don't think he was on very good terms with family in Dorset either. I think he left me the farm to upset my cousin Wilfred.
Well, the Barlow place ain't much now, but I reckon you can turn it into something worthwhile.
But how? No one will work for me. Mr. Dabbs was the third person to turn me down.
Well, now that's a shame.
And why? Because I talk like an idiot.
No, you don't. Looney McGuire over at the livery stable, he talks like an idiot. You just talk like a
Like what?
different like. Maybe folks will get used to you in time, Barkley.
I should have gone to Australia as my Uncle Gerald suggested.
Don't know much about Australia. Do they talk like you there?
Probably not. It makes no difference. I spend most of my money coming here. And here is where I'm destined to remain. That drink doesn't taste quite so bad after a few minutes. May I trouble you for another one, Miss Birdie?
Sure thing, Barkley. And this one's on the house.
I could not take advantage of your heartfelt hospitality in such a way.
There you go again. Fancy talking when there ain't none needed. Just say, sure, Birdie, or nothing doing, Birdie. See?
Nothing doing, Birdie.
Not bad. Maybe you can be taught how to talk normal with the right teacher.
You think so?
Buzzards and buffaloes. It's hot enough out there so I can fry this rabbit on my saddle. Bertie, get me a glass of sarsaparilla.
Sure thing, Dixie.
Fergus, you sitting there all so quiet like. I didn't take any notice. How you doing, Fergus?
Don't know.
Ain't he something, Bertie? He don't know. Well, to my mind, Fergus, you look like you're doing just fine. What you drinking?
Sarsaparilla?
Maybe I could join you then. What do you think about that?
Don't know.
You is something special, Fergus. You know that?
Don't know.
Here's your sarsaparilla, Dixie. It's nice and cool. I just opened a fresh barrel a while ago.
Thank you.
Calhoun!
What's that, Fergus?
Calhoun Bennett.
What about the mangy varmint?
Looking for you.
Don't say.
Yep. Calhoun coming here wanting to know where you be. Something's got his hackles up, don't know what.
Well, let him come looking for me. I don't go traipsing after no skunk. Hey, Fergus, how about you and me going over to that dance in Spittersville tomorrow night? Wouldn't that be fun?
Don't know.
I'm telling you, it'll be a heap of fun, okay?
Okay.
That's fine then. Buzzards and buffaloes, I might even put on a dress. What do you think about that, Fergus?
Don't know.
Yeah, me neither. Who we got here? Who we got here?
Oh, this is Mr. Barclay Mellonford. He done come all the way from Europe.
Well, I'll be a Coyote's cousin. Mighty pleased to meet you. The name's Dixie Klein.
The pleasure's unquestionably mine.
Huh?
I mean, mighty pleased to make your acquaintance.
Europe, huh? Any special part?
To be precise, Great Britain.
Don't say. What's so great about it? I'm just joshing ya. Imagine putting the word great in a country's name. Takes a lot of gall, I say. What you doing in these parts, Mr. Barclay Mellenford?
I've emigrated to this wondrous land of yours. I'm a farmer.
Buzzards and buffaloes. If you're a farmer, then I must be the Duchess of Salisbury State.
Miss Klein, you are something of a frontier wit.
Call me Dixie. Now fess up. You ain't really a farmer, are ya?
I'm quite serious. At least I have strong intentions of pursuing an agricultural career. But at the moment, my situation is less than fortuitous.
Huh?
Barkley here inherited the Barlow place. He wants to get it going again.
The Barlow place? That's gonna take a heap of doing. Got yourself a good foreman?
I regret to say you've come to the very crux of my difficulty. Now, I was just speaking to...
Dixie Klein, I have a bone to pick with you. I fear it is an old complaint, but an annoying one all the same. Is it true that
Hold
you...
on there, Lottie. Can't you see I'm talking with this here gentleman? Mr. Barclay Millenford, this here's my elder sister, Lottie.
Oh, actually, it's Charlotte.
Charlotte, then. Charlotte, Lottie, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet.
Huh?
Shakespeare.
Who else?
It is true, Mr. Melliford, that I'm Dixie's elder sister, but not all that much older, you understand?
Perfectly. I'm grateful you made the distinction. I might have mistaken you for twins.
So tell me, Lottie, what are you so riled up about today? Come in here like a wet hen a moment ago and...
Oh, I do not wish to bore others with our little domestic differences.
Funny. Seems like you come in here most days doing just that.
I'm sure, Mr. Melliford,
Please call me Barkley.
if you insist, kind sir. As I was saying, I don't believe Barclay here need be bothered with a little sibling squabble.
You was fuming like a coffee pot a second ago. Out with it.
Well, is it true you took little Percy Green hunting rabbits with you yesterday?
Well, depends.
He was absent from school yesterday, and today he says something to the effect of having been homesick with malaria. Of course, I question him, and he has no idea what malaria is. He finally confessed that you urged him to play hooky and to go hunting.
That Percy Green's a bright kid. I just wish he were a better liar.
Disgraceful! When my own sister is undermining my efforts to bring an inkling of culture and education to this town.
Wildcat Crossing don't want your culture or your learning.
Oh, Mr. Melliford, Barclay, you see what I'm up against.
I gather it you have the unenviable task of enlightening the youth of the community to the rudiments of learning.
Huh? Yeah, she's a school marm, all right.
The whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail, unwilling to school.
True words were never spoken, Barclay. Shakespeare, you know.
Get ye out of here before I spit in your eye. Dixie, you know.
We will continue this discussion at home, dear sister. So pleased to have met you, Barclay. I hope our paths may cross again before long.
Most likely. It's a small town.
Good afternoon, Miss Charlotte. Oh, thinkest thou we shall ever meet again?
I doubt it not, and all these woes shall serve for sweet discourse in the time to come. Finally, a gentleman has come to our town crossing!
Well, what do you think of that?
Don't know.
I ain't seen Lottie get so lottie-daw and sweet-talking. She was courting that barbed wire salesman from Kansas City. It didn't come to nothing, though.
Miss Charlotte is not romantically attached.
She's an old maid, if that's what you mean.
And your own marital status, Miss Dixie?
Huh?
He wants to know if you're hitched.
Me? Buzzards and buffaloes. I'm as free as the wind. Aim to stay that way, too. Lest you start sweet-talking me, Fergus. Then where would I be?
Don't know.
You said it. What about your own status, Barclay? Got any lady folk chasing after you?
Not quite.
Well, if you stick around here, you'll soon be ripe for the plucking. Ain't that right, Bertie?
Any bachelor who ain't too bow-legged don't stand a chance of staying single in these parts.
Led me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediment.
Anybody ever tell you before that you've got a bad habit of slipping into poetry talk for no good reason?
I fear it is one of my many idiosyncratic personality traits which keep me forever on the fringes of the local populace.
And you got a funny way of talking, even when you ain't spouting poetry.
I fear it is my undoing.
Now my sister Lottie may caught into that kind of talk. Most everyone else in this territory won't take kindly to it.
So I have found, to my great disappointment. Unfortunately, I was educated at Winchester and Cambridge, and now I'm cursed with this blasted speech impediment. Perhaps I could be...
Dixie, there you are. You know Calhoun Bink is looking for you.
Fergus done told me already. Didn't you, you chatterbox, you?
He's mighty upset about something. Don't know what.
It don't worry me. Now here's a man you ought to know, Barclay. Amos Dabbs, best ranch foreman in these parts.
We've already been introduced, to the advantage of neither of us, I fear.
Can't understand what the man says half the time. Now what are you gonna do about Calhoun, Dixie?
Nothing. As for Barclay here, I know he lets us talk it too fancy. It ain't his fault. He growed up in a place where they don't know no better.
Miss Dixie apprehends the difficulty with accuracy. It is more a matter of nurture than of nature, don't you think?
See what I mean?
I can't make you work for the man, Amos, but I know you're making a big mistake. That Barlow place could be spruced up something special. The right foreman.
I think Barkley here just needs a little help with his talking. He seems to be a bright fellow who can get to speaking regular with a little learning.
Sure. Who's gonna teach him? Fergus here? Hey Fergus, you gonna teach this limey how to talk good?
Don't know.
Well, Fergus ain't too big on talking himself, are you, Fergus?
Don't know.
I reckon I can run at the mouth as good as anyone. Maybe I can teach Barclay here a thing or two about good American talking.
Would you?
Can't be done. Feller says 3 words. 2 of them don't make no sense.
Amos Dabbs, you stubborn old rattlesnake.
Just 'cause Barclay here's a stranger in these parts, you think he can't know nothing. You're so set in your ways, you wouldn't trust the Marquis Lafayette if he walked in here and started talking French.
Don't you get uppity with me, Dixie Klein.
You're pig-headed and too stubborn to come in out of the rain.
Just 'cause you can shoot good, you think you know everything. Well, shooting and thinking is 2 different things, and you don't score so well on one of them.
Are you calling me dumb?
Let's just say you can't teach nobody nothing unless it's got to do with a rifle.
I can learn this fella to talk better than you.
Want to put a bet on it? Put your money where your big mouth is?
Sure I do. In fact, when's the next meeting at the Grange Hall, Bertie?
Next month, the 14th, I recall.
What about it?
At the next Grange Hall meeting, Barclay here is going to stand up in front of all the farmers and ranchers in the territory, and he's going to make himself a speech to them in good American talking.
Oh, I don't think this is a prodigious idea.
Oh, he'll talk all right. But they won't understand a thing he's saying.
I'm betting $20 they will.
$20?
You ain't got $20.
Neither do you. But I can get it, so can you, unless you're scared to bet.
I ain't scared of no bet. It'll be the easiest $20 I ever earned.
Says you. Shake on it then.
Miss Dixie, I think your faith in me is a bit premature.
Okay. $20 says he stands up at the Grange meeting next month and makes a fool of himself.
I says he'll talk to them fellers so good, they'll want to run him for mayor.
Oh dear, I didn't mean to start anything.
Oh, good gravy. You should have seen the look on Mike's face when I done asked him for gammon. Said he don't sell no gammon, but I said, sure you do, Mike. What kind of butcher are you?
What's gammon?
Ham.
That's right. Mr. Mellenberg done taught me the word.
Ham? The feller don't even know the right word for ham. Easiest $20 I ever got.
What do you come back for, Calhoun? Change your mind about that chewing tobacco?
Dix Klein, I've been looking for you.
Fergus done told me. Now you found me. What are you gonna do about it?
You've been hunting on my land again.
Well, you're wrong again. I wouldn't step foot on that heap of crabgrass you call a farm if a herd of buffalo was chasing me.
Yeah? What do you call this?
That there's a rabbit, Calhoun Bick. I didn't know you was that dumb.
That come from my land.
If it did, it would be all shriveled up and puny. I shot that critter where I always does, over on the Barlow property.
Trespassing on land owned by the bank. That can get you in a heap of trouble, Dixie Klein.
I weren't trespassing, and it ain't owned by the bank no more.
What'd you do, go and buy it? You ain't got enough money for a sarsaparilla, no less a farm.
I bought it. That is, I own it. The Barlow farm, it's mine. And I gave Dixie permission to hunt there any time she wishes.
And who are you?
The name is Barclay Mellonford. So pleased
Miss
to make...
True Birdie?
Of course it is, Calhoun. Don't you know what goes on around here? Barkley now owns the Barlow place, and Amos here is his foreman.
We'll see about that after the 14th next month.
That Barlow land comes right up next to mine. See, you don't cross the line. I'm the only one doing the hunting on my land.
Then the rabbits will feel better knowing that, Calhoun. The way you shoot, they ain't got nothing to worry about.
Tink! Next time you see Dixie, you tell her to be careful. I don't like her attitude.
Oh, good gravy.
Why, what an unsavory sort of man that Mr. Big is.
Calhoun is all bluster. But one of these days, Dixie, you're gonna go too far with him.
That weasel don't scare me.
Sometimes you shoot off your mouth more than your gun.
Did you mean what you said, Mr. Dabbs? About coming to work for me?
We'll see. Talk to me after the 14th of next month. But by that point, I'll be $20 richer and may want to take it easy for a spell. Afternoon, all.
I best be getting back and put this here ham on ice. Wish you could have seen Mike's face when I informed him that he'd been selling Camden his whole life and didn't even know it.
Miss Dixie, I apologize for getting you entangled in this bet. Perhaps if I spoke to Mr. Dabbs, he'll call the whole wager off.
Nothing doing. I said I was gonna fix up your talking, and I mean to do it. Starting right this minute.
Excellent. Once more to the breach, dear fellows, or let us close up the wall with our English dead.
There you go again. Was that poetry?
Shakespeare, Henry V.
I don't care if it was Napoleon V. It's gotta stop.
Oh.
Bertie, you got a bucket in the back there?
I believe I do.
Good. Fetch me that bucket.
Whatever for.
You do as I say. I'll show you in a minute.
Okay.
Now you listen here, Mr. Barclay Mellonford, and you listen good. This poetry talking's gonna stop, and I know how to do it.
Whatever you say, Miss Dixie, my fate is in your hands.
I aim on collecting that $20 from Amos Dabbs, and you're gonna help me by doing whatever I tell you. You understand?
Certainly.
Here it is. Kinda rusted a little. Ain't been used except as a spittoon once or twice.
It'll do. Now, Barclay, you got a nickel?
I believe I do. Here's one.
Good. Now, every time you quote from that Shakespeare fella, you gotta put a nickel in the bucket. That there particular nickel is to pay for that speech about the breach and such. You understand?
Of course.
Who gets to keep the nickels, Dixie?
I'll split them all with you, Bertie, if you help me out. If I ain't around and you hear one line of poetry coming out of Barclay's mouth, you see he puts a nickel in the bucket.
Sure thing, Dixie. The way poetry comes spilling out of his mouth, we might both earn ourselves more than $20 each.
These are harsh conditions, Miss Dixie. But I say desperate times call for desperate measures.
Was that poetry?
No, I promise you it isn't.
Well, best play it safe and skip any fancy talk at all. That way, we can be sure.
Very astute. I mean, good idea.
We sure got our work cut out for us, Barclay. You just learned so many bad habits growing up in England that it's gonna be like busting a bronco to get you to behave.
I apologize.
You can't help it, but I'ma bust you all the same.
I'll expect nothing less.
Good. Now the first thing I want to do is give you a little test, just so I can see what I gotta work with, okay?
All right.
I want you to go up to that bar and order yourself a drink from Bertie.
Just go up to the bar and order a drink.
That's right.
Certainly. Good afternoon, Miss Birdie. A lovely day we're having, isn't it? Quite clement, one might say.
Hold it right there. What are you doing?
Being pleasant?
You want a drink. We don't need no weather report.
I was just making convivial small talk.
There ain't no such thing as small talk in this territory. You either make big talk or you shut up. Now try again.
Miss Birdie, I would very much like a drink.
Very much like a drink? She don't need to know very or how much or nothing else. Just tell her you want a drink.
Birdie, I'd like a drink.
No, say, give me a drink.
Isn't that rather rude?
Maybe, but it's what folks say.
I don't want to appear unfriendly.
You want to appear friendly, then you say, give me a drink, Bertie.
If you really wants to be friendly, put your money down and say keep the change.
Now, tell her what you want to drink.
I got sarsaparilla and I got the stronger stuff.
Such a delightful selection. I must ponder the possibilities. The root of this sarsaparilla plant is delicious and quite medicinal, I understand. On the other hand, a dram of the more powerful potion has its own restorative powers which ought not to be underestimated. I'm in quite a quandary, Miss Birdie. Perhaps you can assist me in making the most advantageous decision.
Oh, something tells me I'm gonna lose this bet.
Out of my way, Tandy.
There he is.
Shush. Will you stop pushing me from behind?
I ain't. I told you he'd be here.
Shush.
Ain't he pretty?
Will you get out of my way? Bertie, we come shopping. I guess that's Sally Tremaine, and I know what you come shopping for too.
Why, I got no idea what you're talking about.
I was wondering what took you so long. Last time a new feller was in town, you was able to sniff him out in a few hours.
I come to buy a few provisions, and if that ain't reason enough for me to be here, I don't know what is.
Sure.
We need a few things for ourselves. Ain't that right, Bud?
We do?
Of course we do. Sure thing.
Always pleased to do business with you.
But perhaps we are up in something. I see you got 2 customers already. I can wait my turn.
Sure, we can wait, can't we, Bud? I'd wait all day for that one.
I reckon I ought to introduce you gals to Mr. Melford here.
That would be polite, Bertie.
Sure would be.
But maybe you gals are in too much of a hurry and want to be on your way.
No.
No hurry at all.
Oh, Bertie, stop toying with them chickens and get on with it. They ain't gonna go till they get their eye full of Barclay here.
I reckon you're right, Dixie.
Let me do it. This here's Mr. Barclay Mellenford, who's got the Barlow place now.
Why, I had no inkling someone had bought the Barlow place.
Me neither. Well, look at that. Lucky thing you gals just happened to be passing by.
Very lucky. But I thought you said you heard.
Shush! I'm in quite a state of suspense, Miss Birdie. Won't you identify these lovely ladies?
Let me do it. This here couple of hens is the Greensboro sisters. You got Tandy,
Howdy.
and the youngest, Bud.
Tickle pink, Mr. Melford.
Bud? What an extraordinary name.
It's really Rosebud, but everybody calls her Bud. After Paul had a girl, he was really hankering for a boy. So he starts calling me Bud, and it's been Bud ever since.
Such a delightful story, Miss Bud. All I can say is what the poet once said. Deny thy father and refuse thine heir.
In the bucket.
Blast!
Huh?
Not you, Miss Bud. It's Shakespeare. His words will hoist me, as they say, on my own petard.
In the bucket.
Ain't you forgetting something, Dixie Clyde?
And what's that?
I believe we've not been introduced, my dear madame. My recitations, which are growing more and more expensive, have completely distracted me from your lovely presence.
This here is Sally Tremaine. She ain't married, which she'll tell you every hour like clockwork, in case you forget.
Oh, Bertie, he can be so funny. Sometimes.
I'm very pleased to make your acquaintance, Miss Tremaine.
Oh, call me Sally, 'cause we're gonna be real good friends.
Oh, I do hope so.
Bertie said that about me, 'cause, well, strangers that come to town are often surprised to find that such a fetching person like myself is not married.
I know I'm surprised. Astonished, even.
Well, ain't you nice to say so?
I thought you hens came to shop.
What can I get you gals?
Oh, dear. Looks like I plumb forgot my shopping list at home.
Well, ain't that something? I can't find mine nowhere neither. What shopping list? I thought you said we came here to get a look at just be on our way. Ain't that right, Bud? Already? Well, I reckon so. Come along, Bud. Nice meeting you, Mr. Mellenford. Welcome to Wildcat Crossing. Goodbye.
Since you ain't buying nothing, Sally Tremaine, I reckon it's time for you to skedaddle too.
I do have a few calls to make since I'm in town. Good afternoon, Mr. Mellenford. Parting is such sweet sorrow, ain't it not?
Charmed to have met you, Miss Tremaine.
Sally, please.
Sally, then.
Let's not be strangers no more. See you around.
Hustle. That there Barkley's the town flirt, if you hadn't guessed it yet.
Just a high-spirited young lady, I imagine.
If her spirits were any higher, she'd be a vulture.
Now, Barclay, you can go fancy talking Sally Tremaine and my sister Lottie and them cackling Greensboro sisters, and they'll lap it up like molasses. But it ain't gonna help you talk regular to the men folk in this country who you want to impress.
I suppose you're right, Miss Dixie. And that is why I must be a most diligent student. Apprehend all your instructions, persevere with fortitude, and win all the glittering prizes.
Huh? What prizes?
Just a metaphor, nothing more.
What's a metaphor?
I know, a meadow's for cows and such.
Miss Birdie, you're as droll as ever. A metaphor is a simple poetic device.
In the bucket.
But glittering prizes is not Shakespeare.
I don't care. It's poetry, and you gotta stop doing it. In the bucket.
Very well. I would offer to pay you for these lessons, but it appears I already am.
I sure got my work cut out for me, Barclay. I can see now that not only do I gotta teach you to talk right, but I gotta learn you the ways of the West.
I see. You mean decorum?
Huh?
Appropriate behavior. The ways of the world. Your world.
I reckon that's what I mean, but I sure am getting tired of you putting fancy words in my mouth.
I'm entirely at your disposal, Miss Dixie.
Say what?
I'm available anytime you can spare me. My schedule is wide open.
Your what is what?
My schedule is...
We don't follow you, Barkley. What's a shed?
Schedule? Oh, my diary. Or appointment book. Or calendar. Schedule.
You mean schedule?
I suppose I do.
Buzzards and buffaloes. Where's my rabbit?
Here on the counter.
You're leaving, Miss Dixie?
I am getting out of here before I say or do something I'm gonna be sorry for.
You're not giving up on me, are you?
Barclay, I can wrestle me a mad dog to the ground. But right now, I ain't got the strength for no more learning to you. We'll try it again tomorrow.
Don't be discouraged, Miss Dixie.
I ain't discouraged, but I figure if I shoot you dead right here and now, I ain't got a chance of winning that bet. So let's just say goodbye till tomorrow.
I understand.
Good. Till tomorrow then. Farewell and all that. Part in such sweet sorrow.
In the bucket.
Huh?
Parting in such sweet sorrow is Shakespeare.
Are you sure?
Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2.
I'll be a coyote's cousin. Half an hour after I meet this feller, I'm quoting Shakespeare for the first time, and I'm out a whole nickel. Schedule.
Well, what do you think of that?
Don't know.
I heard he was renting a rig for tonight. Where can he be, Bertie?
I ain't Mr. Mellonford's secretary, and I ain't his mom. He's old enough to come and go as he pleases.
We don't care where he's been. We want to know where he's gone. That's right.
Well, then send him a telegram. Now, unless you're buying something, you all skedaddle.
Oh, good gravy. Bertie, you got any boot grease?
Of course I have, but what do you want with boot grease?
Mr. Mellonford is wearing his new boots tonight, and they as stiff as a rock.
Alvy, where is he?
Mr. Mellonford?
Who else?
He's over at the barber shop getting himself a haircut and a shave.
Barbershop. Why didn't we think of that? Let's go.
This here grease ought to work. I use it on the water pump. It's good for boots, too. Cost you 40 cents.
Oh, there. Thank you.
Those Greensboro sisters. Sometimes I wish I was a rattlesnake and they'd go running when I comes too close.
I know what you mean, Bertie. This town ain't got but 2 or 3 real women. The rest is all cats and chickens.
Real women, huh? Meaning you?
And Barkley knows a real woman when he sees one.
He's seen you all right. Poor feller can't come into town without running up against you at every street corner.
All coincidences, happy coincidences.
I'll bet.
Of course, I don't get to spend as much time with Barkley as I'd like.
You ain't the only one. Those Greensboro sisters been coming into town regular like ever since Barkley come here. You want another sarsaparilla?
I noticed Dixie Klein ain't having no trouble seeing Barkley. They've been together plenty.
That's because of this here bet. She's learning Barkley how to talk like a regular feller so his people can understand him.
I ain't got no trouble understanding him. I like his fancy talk.
Well, the men folk don't. And tonight he's gonna speak up at that Grange Hall meeting and show him he can talk okay.
Such a silly bet. As if Dixie Klein could teach a cow to go moo.
You know Dixie, she's stubborn. She ain't let up on him these past 4 weeks.
How are the lessons coming along?
Well, some days he sounds pretty near close to normal. Then there's other days. He sometimes forgets and starts in with the poetry.
I reckon Barkley and Dixie must be getting kind of chummy, spending all that time together.
What you hinting at, Sally Tremaine?
Nothing.
You're just busting a gut to ask if there ain't something between them two, ain't you?
Well, things happen, you know, between a handsome fellow like Barkley and even a ruffian like Dixie.
Truth be told, they are at each other's throats most of the time. She keeps riding him and he takes it, but I swear he's fuming inside like a pressure cooker. If that's your idea of romance, then they is regular lovebirds.
Just what I thought. I knew Barkley could tell the difference between a real woman and a sharp-shooting coyote.
Now, don't you go bad-mouthing Dixie on me. At least she ain't no brazen hussy who...
You got a customer.
What can I do for you, Fergus?
Maul needs more medicine.
For her indigestion? I just sold you a bottle 2 days ago.
Cat's got to it. Drank it all up.
I warned you they like that stuff. You're in luck. I got 1 bottle left. That costs 20 cents, but I'll give it to you for a dime for your troubles.
Thank you.
I reckon Barkley ain't stopping in, so I best be on my way.
What you want Barkley for, if you don't mind my asking?
I got me this pretty new dress to wear to the Grange Hall meeting tonight, and I don't want to take Pa's horse. I was hoping I might catch a ride with Barkley. I hear he's renting a rig.
He is, but it's for him and Dixie.
Oh,
And I don't expect they is planning on taking any passengers.
I reckon not. And here I am with this here new dress. It's enough to make a gal spit.
Well, use the spittoon if you gotta.
Got a rig.
What's that you say, Fergus?
Got me a rig. Belongs to Jake Potter. But he don't need it.
You say you got yourself a rig, Fergus?
Uh-huh.
Was you planning on going to the Grange Hall meeting tonight?
Don't know.
Well, I know Fergus. You're going to that meeting, and you're going to be riding next to the finest lady in all of Wildcat Crossing. What do you think of that?
Don't know.
Come along, Fergus. Tonight's your lucky night. So long, Birdie.
Well, what do you think of that? She'll eat him up alive, that's what I think. Won't be nothing left but his head. Look at that. He forgot his mom's medicine. I declare. Barkley!
Give me a drink, Birdie.
Sure thing. Some sarsaparilla?
Yep, and keep the change.
Thank you. You know these here parts, mister?
Maybe. What's it to you?
Nothing. Just wondering.
Well, ma'am, you just keep wondering.
We don't get too many strangers in here, fella.
That's so?
Barkley, you okay there?
You call this Rocco sarsaparilla? Really?
It's the best brand I got.
Well, it ain't strong enough for me. When I order a drink, I expect it to burn at my insides, or else it ain't no good.
Maybe you're just too tough for the likes of this town, mister.
Maybe I am. Then again, maybe I ain't. Maybe. I cannot tolerate this.
What, Barkley?
Bring my hat indoors. It just isn't done.
And you was doing so good there, Barkley. Dixie would have been proud of you.
I doubt that very much. Nothing seems good enough for her. I do my very best, and yet she insists on berating my efforts. All she cares about is her $20. Put money in my purse. Shakespeare had it right. Blast. It's worth a nickel to say it and not get scolded by her.
Poor Barkley. You have had a time of it, ain't you?
Oh, don't worry about me. I'll pull this thing off with success. I'll win her bet and her $20. And then...
Then what?
I don't know, Birdie. I honestly don't know.
Well, once everyone knows you can talk normal, you'll have no trouble getting workers for your farm.
I suppose.
Ain't that what you want?
I don't know what I want. Yes, I do. I want to be me, Barclay Mellonford, not some kind of pioneer phony.
Put your hat on. How many times I gotta tell you? He had it on, Dixie. He came in here and ordered a drink and everything. And he kept his hat on the whole time, I tell you.
Then what's it doing there on the bar?
I asked him to take it off. I want to see what a good job they done over at the barber shop.
Well, now you've seen him. Put it back on.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
I done changed my mind, Barclay. I ain't gonna wear no dress to the meeting tonight. I'll just take my horse.
But I've gone and rented a rig. And
I know you did, but I don't feel like riding in no rig. So I told Lottie she could ride with you. She got herself all purdied up and she don't want to sit on no horse.
I see.
Now don't you go talking fancy to Lottie on the way to the Grange Hall meeting tonight. I know the way you two like to talk Lottie-daw and stuff when I ain't around. You gotta concentrate, you know what I mean?
I believe I do.
You gotta get yourself thinking the right way before you enter that meeting hall.
I'll concentrate. Don't you worry, ma'am. I'll win your bet.
It ain't just the bet, Barclay.
There's $20 at stake. I reckon I understand that.
Don't think of it that way. This is your big chance. You show them farmers and ranchers that you're just like them. When they start talking wheat prices, you say them things I told you.
But how can you be so certain they will talk about wheat prices?
'Cause that's all they do at them meetings. That and the cost of hay. Gotta take my word for it.
Yes, ma'am. Wheat and hay, I hear ya.
I hope I haven't kept you waiting, Barclay.
Miss Charlotte, I hear you are to accompany me to the Grange Hall meeting this evening. Such an unexpected pleasure.
Oh, Barclay, the pleasure is all mine, I assure you.
There they go again. Barclay, this is just what I was talking about.
Beg your pardon, Miss Dixie. Well, shucks, ma'am, I'm just plumb tickled pink to see you. And I'm just jumping for joy knowing I'm going to tramp along with you this evening.
Very funny. Now, Lottie, I don't want you and Barclay talking poetry and fancy books and such. He needs to set his mind on what I learned him.
I promise to speak about only wheat and hay, Miss Dixie. How's that sound to you, Miss Charlotte?
Simply dreadful!
Enough of this yakking. You two best get going. It's 5 miles to that Grange Hall, and that rig won't go so fast as you think.
Well, you best get a move along, Miss Dixie. Charlotte.
Yes, we shall see you there, shall we not, Dixie?
I'll be there, all right.
Of course you will. There's $20 at stake. Good evening, Miss Birdie.
You show him, Barclay. I know you can do it.
Thank you, ma'am. Come along, Miss Charlotte. That rig's just raring to go.
Barclay,
Yes, Miss Dixie?
good luck.
Yes. Thank you.
You nervous about tonight, Dixie?
I reckon I ought to be, but I ain't.
No reason to be nervous. Barkley will do just fine.
I reckon so.
You've done your best. He won't disappoint you none.
No. All the same.
What's the matter, Dixie?
Funny thing, Bertie. Gonna make you laugh.
What's that?
I want him back.
Huh?
I want him back the way he was. Ain't that a howler?
I figured something like that. So you love the fella?
Does it show?
Not to him, that's for sure.
Liked him a lot from the very first. Didn't want to let on, of course. What did I do about it? Went and changed him. Tried to make him something he ain't. And now I'm sure he hates me for it.
I don't know about that, but you have been pretty rough on him these past 4 weeks.
I know. Didn't want him to catch on that I liked him. So I treated him something awful. But the more and more I learned him to talk regular, the more and more I missed the fella who first walked into this store a month ago.
Well, Dixie, you surprised me. I didn't think you was the sort of gal to get struck by lightning.
Surprised myself. Didn't know it hit me. But what have I done about it? Gone and changed him. Hassled him. Till he hates me.
I don't know if that's true.
You've seen it for yourself. The feller can't wait to be rid of me. My guess is that after tonight, he will never speak to me again. And that's a terrible thought, Bertie. Terrible through and through. Told you it was funny. What fools these mortals be. Shakespeare. He done said it the best.
I can't tell you how good it is to work for a regular gentleman like Mr. Mellenberg. He talks to you so polite and says thank you and please and especially lovely. Everything is lovely to him. I tell him the toast is ready, and he says lovely. Them British must think the whole world is lovely. I declare, if I went and told him the barn was on fire, he'd say lovely. No wonder they got such good manners, those English people.
Well, I hope for Barkley's sake he forgot some manners tonight and talked like a regular fellow.
I wonder how it went.
Me too.
They should be back by now, don't you think?
It's been hours.
Maybe they all went home.
No, they always come here. You'll see.
I wish I could do something special for Mr. Mellenberg, because he's just so nice to me. I wonder how you make an English muffin. I bet he'd like that.
Same as a regular muffin, I reckon. It's just made with British flour.
Where am I going to get British flour in Wildcat Crossing?
Not in this store. Amos,
I'd like me a sarsaparilla, but I don't know how I'm going to pay for it.
you lost your bet?
Sure did.
Then this one's on the house.
Well, out with it. Tell us what happened, Amos.
Ain't much to tell.
Did Barkley stand up there and talk like he was supposed to?
Oh, he talked all right. Talked up a storm, all about wheat prices and cost of hay and stuff.
And did they understand him?
They sure did. Everybody started asking him questions about land rights and crop rotations, and he answered them real well. Made a lot of sense, actually.
Good for you, Barkley.
Matter of fact, when he got done talking, they all stood up and started applauding him like it was some kind of saloon show. Then some of them fellas went out and asked him to run for mayor.
Mayor? Well, I'll be.
Sounds like a downright triumph. Oh, here, Amos, have another.
Don't mind if I do.
I feel like celebrating myself. Another sarsaparilla, Bertie.
Are the rest of them coming here, Amos?
Can't say. I left as soon as I lost my bet. Where am I going to come up with $20, Bertie?
Simple. You tell Barkley you'll be his foreman, if he'll still have you.
I reckon I can do that.
You'll like working for Mr. Mellenberg. He's real nice.
Nice. What's that got to do with farming?
Amos Daz, you stop being so doggone stubborn. Barkley Mellenberg ain't no fool when it comes to farming. He done told me he growed up on a farm in a place called Dorset. A real farm too, with crops and cattle raising and horse breeding and everything.
Why did he stay there?
Weren't his farm to keep, belonged to relatives. So instead, he got himself all educated and such, but he always loved farming. Then he inherited the Barlow place, so he come here.
Well, he did make a lot of sense at that meeting tonight.
Of course he did. Now, if I was you, I wouldn't waste no time and ask Barkley to take you on.
Maybe.
Dixie, where's Mr. Mellenberg?
I thought he'd come here. Ain't seen no sign of him yet. Amos here tells us Barkley done real good at the meeting tonight.
Huh? Oh, yeah. He come through like he was born in these parts. But where could he be?
Didn't he ride back with Lottie?
No, they had a fight. That is, we had a fight.
What happened?
After Barclay was done talking and the meeting broke up, Lottie comes to me all red in the face and yelping how I ruined a good man making him talk like that. Kinda got riled and told her off, saying how before I learned him how to talk, he weren't fit for nobody but stuck-up folk like her.
Oh boy.
I didn't have the meeting, I reckon, but Lottie can sure get my dander up.
What did Barkley say?
That's the bad part. I got mad at him too and told him he ought to go and marry Lottie, and the two of them could talk poetry to each other till they was blue in the face.
Well,
So then Barclay said he weren't marrying no one, and I should just keep my mouth shut because I won my bet, and that's all I cares about. Then Lottie gets mad because of what Barclay said about not marrying no one, and she run off with the Parkers who had a wagon. And then Barclay says I could take the rig back by myself, since now I got $20 I can afford to buy a rig. And then he run off, and that's the last I seen him.
Such doings.
About that $20, Dixie.
Don't you worry yourself about that, Amos.
No, I'm aiming on paying you. Every cent. You just may have to wait a spell. That's all.
Amos says he'll work for Barkley now.
Well, that's right nice of you, Amos. Glad to hear it.
Fergus Tink, stop that teasing me right this very minute. I ain't never seen such a feller.
Fergus, what have you done now?
Don't know.
You come and sit over here, Fergus. Ferdy, we want 2 sarsaparillas.
Coming right up.
Fergus, you look different or something. What's with you?
Don't know.
Here you go, 2 sarsaparillas. You look like you can use a chaser.
Oh, he ain't intoxicated, is you, Fergus?
Don't know.
We ain't had a drop, that's the honest truth.
Well, something come over him.
Well, Ferdy, I never used to know why Dixie Cline was so fond of Fergus for so long. But now I got an inkling why. He is, well, let's just say, he ain't the same one-on-one as he is the rest of the time.
Fergus?
A real sweet talker in the moonlight.
Well, I declare. Was it the meeting that done us to him?
We never even got to that meeting, did we, Fergus?
Not all, ma'am.
Now, Fergus, what did I tell you before?
Don't know.
Fergus,
Oh, I mean, not at all, Sally.
that's better.
Here's Barkley now.
Mr. Mellenberg.
I hear congratulations are in order.
I reckon they are, Mr. Mellenford. You done good tonight.
Mr. Dabbs, I'm very sorry about your bet.
Oh, think nothing of it.
It's all my fault you lost that $20. I insist on equitable restitution.
Huh?
He wants to pay you the $20, Amos.
Oh, I can't allow that. But tell you what, Mr. Mellenford, you just take that money out of my first month's salary and give it to Dixie.
You mean,
You're looking at your new foreman, if you'll have me.
indeed I will have you. Buzzers and buffaloes, you hear that, everybody? I done got me a foreman.
All right.
Great. I can start first thing tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. sound all right?
Sounds fine. You hear that, Mr. Bird? Gammon and crumpets for me and my new foreman at 6 a.m.
Sure thing, Mr. Mellenberg.
What's that?
Ham and biscuits, Amos. Don't fret.
Oh.
In honor of Amos here and his new job, and to celebrate Mr. Melford's success at the meet tonight, everybody gets a free drink.
Miss Dixie,
Barclay?
I would be remiss not to mention how grateful I am for everything you've done for me.
I weren't much of a teacher. You just needed someone to prod you along every once in a while.
We both know that's not entirely true.
You're a smart feller. Would have figured it out yourself. Talking and such.
I believe it was much more than a mere matter of talking. You taught me how to think like an American.
Meaning I learned you how to act rude and such.
At first I thought that. But then, after a while, I realized there was much more to it than that.
Like what?
Like honesty. Saying what you mean when you talk. Not hiding behind my fancy words, as you put it so well.
Well, sometimes I think them fancy words were pretty nice to hear. I even think all your poetry spouting had a kind of charm.
Do not be fooled by charm, Miss Dixie. Where I come from, there's plenty of charm, but not enough truth. You taught me that.
I go and lose my temper, and you call it truth.
It's an honest temper. I wish I had it.
Shucks, now you're just talking pretty again.
I guess I can't help it. So, I may as well tell you something else. Something that I should have figured out for myself much sooner. But I didn't know it until tonight.
What's that?
That it wasn't only the bet. There was more to it than that.
Lots more. Oh, Barclay, I didn't mean to go and change you. I just wanted to help.
And help me you did. I apologize for my harsh words earlier this evening.
What about me? I sounded like a wounded polecat the way I behaved.
That's when I realized...
What?
Dixie in here?
What is it, Lottie?
It's Calhoun Bick. He's looking for you.
Ah, don't fuss so, Lottie.
I'm telling you, Dixie, he's in a real mean mood. And he's got his bullwhip with him.
You said Calhoun's got his bullwhip?
That's right. And he's looking for Dixie.
There he is.
You was wonderful tonight, Mr. Melford. I'll say, you talked so good I couldn't stand it. Real good. Are you really gonna run for mayor?
I don't think that's a very good idea.
Oh, but you got to. We ain't never had a handsome man
player before. That's the plain truth. I think you ought to be sheriff, too.
Oh, yes.
Listen, dear ladies, I'm flattered by your kind thoughts and words, but
Now, Calhoun, we don't want no trouble in here.
Dixie Klein, ain't I done tell you to keep off my land?
I don't need no telling from you. I ain't been near your lousy land.
You been hunting up near them grove of trees by the stream, I knowed it.
You don't know nothing, Calhoun Bick.
Yeah, I got proof. There's wheel tracks in the mud. Somebody's been up there tonight in a rig.
Uh-oh.
A rig? What would I be doing hunting in a rig of all the fool things?
Well, somebody's been up there tonight, and I says it was you.
And I says you don't know what you're talking about.
You ain't gotta listen to me, listen to this.
Now, Calhoun, I don't want none of that.
Shut
in
up,
my
Bertie.
place.
You got a right sharp tongue on you, mister.
and I don't like it one bit.
You go. And who in Sam Hill is you, you sawed-off runt of a man?
Name's Mellenford. Don't you forget it, because you're gonna quake in your boots every time you hear it again.
Step outside, Beanpole, because there ain't room enough in here for the thrashing I'm gonna give you.
Barkley, don't.
I'll meet you outside, mister. I ain't doing nothing particular at the moment.
So glad you found an opening in your schedule.
What's that?
Blast!
You said schedule.
Forget what I said and step outside.
He said schedule.
Why, you unmitigated fake. Where are you from?
None of your business. Texas. No, Kansas Territory. No. Blast it all, Dorset.
So am I. Now, isn't that a coincidence?
You mean he?
Alani, been hounding these past 2 years.
Well, ain't that something?
I'll be a cousin.
All this time you've been counterfeiting?
I can't tell you how dreadful it's been. Hiding my true self, denying my true speech, pretending to be something I was not. Some days I thought I would take leave of my senses.
Poor fellow.
And you know what the very worst of it was?
Wearing your hat indoors?
The poetry! Making sure I never spoke one line of poetry. It was maddening.
We are such stuff as dreams are made on.
And our little life is rounded with a sleep. Oh, the relief.
I don't get it.
Shakespeare.
I figured that. What I don't get is that if you're a la-di-da polite Englishman, why you been so ornery since you came here 2 years ago?
I knew that if I acted rude, no one would suspect my secret. Not a single living soul would have had anything to do with a polite Englishman in the American West.
You'd be surprised.
You dear unfortunate man! All that poetry and good breeding inside you, just aching to break out.
That's right, ma'am.
Please, call me Charlotte.
Well, thank you, Charlotte.
Well, Mr. Bick, if that's your real name.
Cornelius Beckford. Hardly a prepossessing name for a farmer.
Except in Dorset. Well, Mr. Bickford, I think you will find that the good citizens of Wildcat Crossing are not so narrow-minded as you may think. I too tried to be what I was not, and thanks to Miss Dixie here, I was able to pull it off for a time. But I intend to be myself from now on, and to stay here as myself. I suggest you do the same.
Oh, but I'm afraid I've made too many enemies here.
But that was his Calhoun Bick.
I don't believe Mr. Cornelius Bickford is very well known to anyone yet. I know I'd like to make his acquaintance.
Blimey.
Lottie's right, you know. Some of the local gals have taken quite a shine to you foreign types.
Oh, yes.
I have noticed a certain attraction coming from various females. What about you, Miss Dixie? Are you at all attracted to the British male of the species?
I reckon I'm attracted to a certain one.
That's all I needed to hear.
Oh, Barclay, well, I was so busy trying to change you. I done realized I kind of liked you best the way you was.
That kind of talk, Miss Dixie, is poetry to my ears.
Well, Sally, what do you think of that?
Dunno.